Welcome to Three Skulls Tavern, a channel devoted to tabletop role-playing games by Free League Publishing. This show is sponsored by WorldMill, online server hosting for the Foundry Virtual Tabletop. To support the show, head over to patreon.com/MattK. For a minimum of $2 per month, you get access to a ton of extra content. Good evening. Hello. Welcome to a new thing I'm doing here on Three Skulls Tavern. And really, this is kind of something that just cropped up today as a thought of something that I kind of excited to try out. And that's to run a solo zombie game, basically using Year Zero Mini and doing things exactly as I've been doing in the past couple of zombie videos I've made. So I did a zombie video where I was talking about tweaking Year Zero Mini for a zombie game in preparation for a zombie one-shot that I ran on the channel on Halloween this year, 2021, in case you're looking at this in the future. And it went really, really well. I only had 2 players, and it still went, swimmingly. I really, really liked how, all the little changes I'd made to Year Zero Mini. And yeah, I started thinking about today. We were meant to be doing the One Ring, final part of our campaign, and we've had to reschedule that to next week. So that just happened kind of yesterday, today. And today, I was thinking about what to try and do to kind of sit in that stopgap. It just hit me, the zombie game. I've been really enjoying that. I've been thinking about it a lot. I've just also run a Year Zero Nano one-shot, a cosmic horror one-shot using a Cthulhu hack adventure. That didn't go quite as well as my zombie game did, so there's some things I want to kind of address there before I really bring it onto the channel and try anything with it. But the idea of doing a zombie thing is still really appealing to me, so that's what I wanted to try and do here. I want to basically start a solo zombie game on the channel. I don't know how long it's going to go on for. If you've followed my channel for a while, you know that I'm going to be going on hiatus for a period of time shortly, as my wife is 3 weeks. There's 3 weeks until my wife is due to have our second child. So I'm going to be fully into like baby land very soon. But I've got a little bit of time at the moment, and I might just pick this up. This might be something that I can do while I'm waiting for the for some other solo projects I've got planned to basically come to fruition. So that said, I need to think about how I'm going to do this Year Zero Mini campaign, this solo campaign, how to set it up, how to run it, etc. And if I was doing it just myself at home, it'd be pretty straightforward. I would basically just have maybe a sheet of paper with the changes I'd be making to Year Zero Mini, or I'd take Year Zero Mini, I'd rewrite it to reflect the changes I'd want to make, and have that printed out, ready to go. But really, it's pretty straightforward in terms of what I want to do. First of all, I've already done a conversion, basically, I should call it like a spin of Year Zero Mini for the zombie genre, for the Halloween game that I ran. So I'm going to be using that, like what I did there, to kind of take Year Zero Mini as a starting point, and then I'm going to be adding solo stuff on top of that, and I'll talk about that in a bit. But because I'm going to be doing this on the channel, I need to have some way of digitally doing this so I can, have it showing up on the screen for you all. I could do the thing where I've got like a camera over my shoulder pointing at a tabletop where I'm kind of doing stuff, but I'm quite heavily invested into Foundry now. I've run a Forbidden Lands solo campaign on the channel using Foundry, and that went really well. And I quite like using Foundry and all its built-in automation for things like oracles and random tables, dice automation, all that kind of stuff. So Foundry is the obvious choice here. But then we start running into hurdles. The first big one being there is currently no Year Zero Mini module for Foundry. There is actually somebody in their spare time, somebody is creating a Year Zero Mini module for Foundry, but it's not ready yet. I've certainly not seen it yet. So until that's ready, and available for tweaking, I'm not going to really be able to use that. So the other thing to look at is, which of the existing modules in Foundry have something that I could use. And for this zombie game, one thing that I did was I added aliens stress and panic stress dice and the panic tables to Year Zero Mini. So that really seems like the obvious place, because while some of the output that's going to come, into the chat dialogue is not 100% going to be in line with Year Zero Mini, it's basically going to be enough. I'm going to be able to see how many successes I've rolled. I'm going to be able to see if any stress dice came up as ones. It's going to automatically roll on a panic table for me. That's going to present some problems because I've modified the panic tables from Alien, but I might be able to hack into some of the into the JavaScript files for this module to be able to hack it a bit. I might not be doing that today on this stream. I'm probably going to look at doing that in the background because I have no idea how long that's going to take, how involved that will be. But yeah, if that becomes too involved or too difficult to do, then I will possibly just ignore the changes I made to the panic tables and use the default alien ones just so I can use it here. So let's jump into Foundry and get started. I'm going to change my screen here so you can kind of see I've got a screen, like basically a brand new fresh world started in Foundry. It's not quite completely new. I have actually done a tiny bit of prep for this in that I have, as you can see here, I'm currently using Foundry version 0.8.9. Aliens system module is 2.0.5. This is all, I've updated this all just before the stream, so this is all bang up to date as of today. Modules, I've added some modules, I've activated some modules ready to go here. So I've got actor sheet macro. That basically means if I create an actor, I've got a test one here, and I can basically drag and drop it into the macro bar. When I click on that, it automatically opens my my actor, which is very handy. So I really love this macro. Background, there's pins. If I want to put pins on the background, that's something that basically allows me to use icons for the pins that don't have any backgrounds. They basically just integrate very nicely with whatever you have as your background image on a scene. Compendium folders basically allows me to organize my compendiums into folders here. So as you can see, I've got one called Matt's content, and some of these other ones are just called default for Foundry. But it means I can put my own content in here and keep it kind of tidy a little bit, which I quite like. Dice so nice, so I can roll fancy dice. So in fact, if I click on this test person here and I put in a 3, and I click on strength, it's going to roll, the alien dice. Click on it again, it's going to roll some more alien dice. Click on it again until I get some 6s. Let's just change this to, a strength of 10 and roll 10 dice. There we go. We've got a 6. I've also, as you can tell, I've already gone into my settings here for Dice So Nice under configure settings, module settings, and then Dice So Nice, my dice settings, and I've added under special effects, I've added these conditions here. So on the base dice, you click on it, B is base, S is stress. These are the special dice for this system. I clicked here and selected the 6, and I said, so basically what this means is when a base dice rolls a 6, you can have some special effect happen, and I like having this double spiral for a success. Obviously on the stress dice, if they come up 6s, those count as well, so I want those to come up as well. And then I also want on the stress dice, I want when a 1 comes up, that indicates a panic result. I want that to come up with this blaze particle thing here. So if you want to see what that looks like very quickly, what I'll do for the stress dice, I'll come in here again, click on test. I'll do one. We'll do one strength roll. We'll put our stress up to like 20. And then we're going to hit strength. And there, look at these. They're all going to flash like that to show that ones have been rolled. I'm going to drop this back down to 0. Yeah. So those are just basically some special effects. I'm going to kind of clear these here very quickly. Roll stress. I haven't rolled stress yet. We're going to just ignore all this stuff here. I'm actually going to hit the delete here and clear the log. Okay. easy table by Blitz. If I'm going to be, bringing any tables in, I would use this. I don't think I'm going to be using this though. We'll see how it goes. GM screen is something I really like here. I'll be fiddling with this, but I basically use it for a lot of my role play in Foundry, especially for solo. It's a really great way to access information really quickly. In fact, what I can do, for example, is I can say here I want the rows to span 3 rows, and I want it to be 2 columns across, so basically half of the GM screen that's currently there. Whoop. And then I'm going to add to this. Whoops. Here I click here, drag and drop. So I just basically come here, drag my test thing here, and as you can see, I have, oh my god, it really has not. That really doesn't look very good. But theoretically, this has everything in here. You just can't read it because it's like black text on a black background for some reason. So that hasn't worked very well. But it does work. It does work in some other things, and I can use this basically to put tables and things that I need to reference very quickly in here. So, for example, I could put the entire text of Year Zero Mini into my GM tables. If I want to reference the rules, I just basically click here, and I can flick to various sections of Year Zero Mini to bring up the rules that I want to be thinking about. Or, for example, for this game, I'm going to be, if I head over to my Miro board from my last, from the one shot I did, you can see here I've put the rules for Year Zero Mini as screenshots here in this Miro board. Miro is a whiteboard, digital whiteboard, an online collaborative one. And I've come up with some stress and panic rules. Here they are here. And basically what I would do is I would take these, maybe rewrite it a bit so it's a bit more compressed, and I would stick it into, one of these GM screens. So I've basically got here like the stress and panic tables in one, and the infection rules all in one. So there's the stuff I'm adding to Year Zero Mini. And yeah, that's basically what I'll be using it for. So really, really handy module to have. A must-have module I would recommend for every GM running Foundry. There's some libraries here that are needed for some of the other modules I'm using, so we'll ignore them. Monk's Enhanced Journal just means when I'm creating journal entries like this, we'll call this a test entry. It's an enhanced journal entry, which is what we want to look at. Create, and as you can see here, oh my god, I'm gonna have to change some stuff. I don't like the UI. But basically, as I'm creating journal entries, they'll go over here on the right hand side. I can search on journal entries right here, and on the left, it's going to have my complete journal entry, which is just a nice way of kind of being able to look at things. However, I can't really use a lot of this. So I'm already in the modules. I'm going to actually add this Wayland Alien UI theme, and I'm going to add the Alien CRT UI. These are going to change the interface. And we'll see if that changes anything. So I click on here. This is what it looks like. It's a bit easier to read. It doesn't really fit with the zombie theme. It's very Alien-esque right now, but we'll see if this actually works better for here. And now I can actually read and use this. So this is actually now usable, so that's quite handy. Yeah, so I'm quite happy about that. So I have 2 ways of handling my my PC. I can either come into the GM screen. I can rename this from being main to saying PC, and I can just come in here and modify to my heart's content. I can roll things directly from here, so I can say, let's change my strength to 6. We'll add some stress to there as well. We'll add 3 points of stress. I click on strength. It's going to roll 6 dice with 3 stress. Yeah, so I can do it directly from the GM screen, which is quite handy. Right, where was I? Let's look at the other modules then I've got here. Pings. I don't actually need pings here, so I can turn that off. I want to keep settings and extender just in case I need it for something else. And that's basically it. So those are all the modules I'm using. There's not a lot there right now. I might add a few more in the future. I don't know. But yeah, those are the modules I've added. Then the one other thing I've done is I've gone to my Forbidden Lands solo game, and I've exported all of the macros and tables that I've used there and put them into a compendium. So if you see here under Matt's content, I have Matt's macros and Matt's tables. If I click on one, now there's like icons missing here, but that's fine. I have all of my macros from before, and I also have all my tables too. So if I bring up these tables, here they are. If I click on my roll tables, under M tables, you can see them all there. Matt's tables, I'm going to actually remove this. I had some issues here. I'm just going to hit delete all. Yeah, So under M tables, I have these various tables here. So critical injuries, for example, there they all are. If I wanted to roll on this, yeah, anyway, what I would do is, for example, let's come over here and say critical injuries, drag it here. The icon obviously is broken. We'll fix those later. If I click on that, let's go to our chat. Was it blunt, slashing, or stab? Crit. Click on blunt. It's straight away I'm getting an error. So I'm gonna have to play around with these a little bit, but the main thing is that these are here. Probably because you can see here there's a class of Forbidden Lands chat items. Forbidden Lands chat item that does not exist here because I'm not using Forbidden Lands. So if I take out this div class and I just say, let's see if this is going to work now. Save macro, click it, blunt, still not working. So this is going to probably take a little bit of work to get these working, to see what I need to change from Forbidden Lands to make things actually work here. And let me just have a quick look if it's fairly obvious. Don't know. This might have been a bad macro example, so we'll remove the macro. I'm going to bring up my macros again over here. Oh, no, in fact, I can click this folder, and they should all be there. Yeah, there we go. And we'll pull up the Ironsworn Action and Theme one, because that's something I'm going to be using. Let's click on that and see if that works. Nothing happens. Interesting. So we're going to edit the macro. Table-wise, have I got things like Inspiration Action and Inspiration Theme? We'll come here to Tables, under M Tables, and we have here Inspiration Action, Inspiration Theme. If I open one of them, and I scroll down, it looks pretty good. I can't get to the bottom here. There we go. We'll hit roll. You can see here, hide. Okay, so it's rolling properly. It's got the 1D100. It's rolling there. All good. So one thing I probably have to change here is this class. In fact, I don't need this entire first one here where it says div class Forbidden Lands chat item. Let's remove that. So let's see if that helps it to work. Click again. Still not working. I did just test this with Forbidden Lands, and Forbidden Lands is using the latest. I'm just going to double check this, that Forbidden Lands is using the latest version of Foundry. It is 0.8.9, and it's working there. In fact, if I bring this over here, you can see my Forbidden Lands game. And you can see here's my Ironsworn Action and Theme table. If I pop this out, go to the chat, and I click on it, instantly it's rolling, and I've got this, Ironsworn Oracle Action plus Theme, align, and then it's saying Effect Direction. Click on it again, it's going to roll another one, Effect Desolation, Effect, Attack, Truth, Mourn, Land, etc. So it's randomly rolling on the two different tables there. And it's working. It's working just fine. And I've copied this. So everything in here is sitting exactly as it was in the new one. So it's I'm kind of wondering now why it's not working. I've removed maybe here with a border, I can just remove all of this. I can remove the class with border, see if that changes anything. I don't think it would. Nothing's happening. Yeah, this is unfortunate. I'm not sure why it's not working here. There's some spaces, some different spaces and stuff. Chat message dot create content. Okay, so I don't really want to spend too much time here kind of faffing around with what I've got. In fact, I think the issue is right here. Yeah, it's not copied I've not copied the right things across. So it should say await space game.tables.getName, etc. And then after this it should say dot roll here as well, dot roll. So I'm gonna have to re-export and re-import all these things again. But I'm just gonna change this one so you can see what it looks like, that it does work. Await game tables, da 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 da. Then for the results, it's gonna say table 1 results. So get rid of the roll because we've got the roll up at the top already. I don't know. It's just copied like old. It's exported old ones for some reason. That's very, very, very bizarre. Then here before text, it's going to say data.text. Here, data.text. This div, I actually want to put this div class equals border, then a gap, and then style text align center. Okay, chat message dot create content. Okay, so this should work now. If I hit save, click on that. There we go. I've got it works now. Ironsworn Oracle action plus theme endure ruin. Click on it again. Inspect creation. So it's working as it should, mainly because I fixed the macro in version 0.8. There was an overhaul to how the kind of macro, if you want to use the term language, like the language used in the interface for how macros work. Basically, what's called the API was tweaked. It meant all of the previous macros were no longer working. So super annoying for for people who already had a bunch of macros like me. And for some reason, I don't know. I've exported them all from Foundry and they weren't working. I know why. Yeah, because I exported a bunch of macros and tables from Foundry for Forbidden Lands to basically for the purpose of importing them into my Twilight 2000 game. And this was before version 0.8 came out. And I basically just grabbed those exports and brought them in. So I didn't do a fresh export. So that's why I then went back after 0.8 dropped and updated all my macros, but I never re-exported them. So that's why. So I'll have to do a fresh export and import. I'll do that later, but this is just to show like I didn't have to redo this whole thing. I just had to basically edit it. It was already there. The content was there as I'd imported it. But I'm going to have to do that again. I'm going to have to re-import everything and start from scratch again. So that's what I'll be doing. I'll be bringing a bunch of oracles over. I'm also going to look at my Twilight 2000 game where I was playing co-op with Tony, my friend Tony. And in that game, the two of us were basically... I just realized I'm not in video here. I just put myself back on. In my Twilight 2000 game with Tony, there were a bunch of other oracles that we used from Twilight 2000, and the solo rules from Twilight 2000 are kind of the basis I want to use for this game. So I'm going to actually be taking some of the macros I've created for Forbidden Lands, like the Ironsworn oracles, which I really want to use, and then possibly modifying them, and also modifying, taking the Twilight 2000 content and then modifying that, like the solo content. So that's what I'm going to be working on. And really, I guess the thing to do here is to start bringing content. I mean, that was the point of this session 0, right? Not just to talk about what I wanted to do, but actually to start doing it. So that's going to take a bit of time for me to do, but I guess I can kind of do that in the background here. I'm going to quickly log out, and I'm going to go into my setup here. I'm going to go with New Alaska Admin. And where is it? Did we not use this one? No. Perfect. So I'm going to go back in here. And we're going to go with Matt. We're going to do the password as... this. Okay, and then I'm going to go over to my other instance of Foundry, and I'm going to log in as, there it is, Twilight 2000 co-op. So here we go. I'm going to show you how this is kind of working here. So we got Twilight 2000 and log in as myself. The password here is going to be Tavern1 GM, I think. Yeah. In a different browser here. Okay, and here we've got, let's just see if these are still working, because it should be all up to date, 0.8.9, great. I'm going to click here on the Ironsworn Oracle. Look at this. I've updated a bit. I've added some location bits to it as well, which is kind of nice. If I right-click, hit Edit Macro, there we've got all the await game tables and stuff in there. So this is definitely the one I want to be using. In fact, probably more than the Forbidden Lands one. So I'm going to go the way basically we export. There's a couple of ways of doing it. The first way to do it is you go over to a compendium. You create a compendium. I'm going to call this one Twilight 2000 tables. It's a roll table. I'm going to create the compendium. I'm going to open the compendium. That's not the right one. It's under default, I think. Twilight 2000 tables. Click on it, and I think I can just drag stuff into there. So if I click on oracles and drag them over, I might have to do it like this. Yeah. So basically, I can drag and drop stuff into this compendium. So all these tables that I want, I want to basically copy them over. Inspiration theme, yes, yes or no. I don't need initiative. A deck of 52 cards I might want to use, so we'll grab that. Then we got the settlements, all these settlement ones I want to drag over. I'm going to be modifying a lot of these, but remember, Twilight 2000 is actually a great starting point for a zombie game because it's contemporary. I mean, it's set in the year 2000, but it is post-apocalyptic. So a lot of this stuff is, I mean, it's set in Poland. I'm setting mine in Kentucky, but really a lot of this stuff isn't going to need a lot of tweaking. So it's actually works really well to do it this way. So settlement allegiance, settlement attitude, settlement characteristics. So I'm just basically dragging and dropping all of these. Faction, population, problem, situation, urban sites. I'm going to go up. We're going to go to NPCs. We're going to drag American names in there. I'm going to leave the Polish, the Russians out. NPC descriptors, NPC goals. In fact, I'm going to add those in just because it might break it otherwise when I bring it all in. Some of the macros. So we'll just drag and drop everything in, and we can just remove references to these. Like adding a couple of tables isn't gonna really change much. And I think that's it. I've done all the generic ones. So these are all the generic oracles at the top level. Yep. Got the deck one in there that I wanted, and I think that's it. All this other stuff is not stuff I'm going to be using because it's not part of Year Zero Mini. Okay, so I've got this this Twilight 2000 tables compendium entry populated. I'm going to go back over to compendiums again. I'm going to create a new compendium, and I'm going to call this Twilight 2000 macros. This document type is a macro entry. Create the compendium. Then I'm going to come over here, click on it, open it. It's blank. But I'm going to come over here, click on the folder here. And in fact, one thing I can do that's a bit easier is I can actually open the macro one that I've already got, Matt's macros here. And they're all already in there. So I'm just going to basically drag and drop all these across because these are all the default, or all the kind of custom ones that I made. Draw a card. I don't need initiative, so I'm going to actually ignore initiative. Forbidden Lands, random encounters. I don't think I need that, but I'll drag it anyway. General encounter, mental horror. I don't really need, but I'll drag it. NPC. I don't need initiative. Roll on tables is a useful one, and the village generator. Just going to check that these all work as well. So I'm going to leave this open. I'm going to bring it over to the side here. I'm just going to check one of them at a time. So the castle generator is actually from Forbidden Lands. That shouldn't work. It's not working. Okay. So in fact, I'm going to open up this compendium. I'm just going to tidy it up a bit as I'm pulling stuff across. So we're going to remove this one. Critical injuries. I don't actually need either. I'm going to, does it work even? Blunt. It's not working. Interesting. So I've not been using this one either. I think it might be because of this Forbidden Lands element. I'm not sure. But also probably because there are no correct injury tables that it's referencing from Forbidden Lands. So take that out. Again, I don't need it for Year Zero Mini at all. The D100 Oracle, if I click on that, roll D100. I mean, it's basically just a D100. Rename it from being Oracle to just D100 roll. Save. This is under the T2K macros one. D66 should work. If I just click on that, it should just be, in fact, it just changes to D100. So click on that. Execute. It's rolling a D100. Perfect. We'll click on D66. Hit execute macro. It's rolling 2d6, and it's giving us it as a proper output there. Dice roller, execute. It's not working. The dice roller is a year 0 mini one, so we'll delete that one. Draw a card. Let's see if this works. Execute. How many do I want to draw? 1 or 2? I only actually ever want to draw 1 probably, but I mean, we'll try 2. Nothing's happened. Execute macro, draw 1. It's drawing 1 card from the deck, and it's referencing a deck. I'm gonna have to make sure that there are images in there for that. There might be. I don't know how much I'm gonna actually be drawing a card, because there's a very soon we're gonna be getting card support in Foundry. So I'm actually just remove this. I don't really need it right now. We're gonna be having card support in Foundry soon, and I think I'll just wait for that. General encounter, the Forbidden Lands random encounters, I'm gonna remove that because I don't need it. We got this general encounter table. Let's click on that, execute it. Nothing's happened. And why is that? Because it doesn't have all the new bits. So it should say await, and then at the end it should say dot roll like this. Then under roll we should have table 1 dot result 0, and then data dot text. Let's save that. Let's try it again. Execute. There we go. Industrial settlement. So it's working again with those kind of small things there. Mental horror I don't need. NPC generator. Again, I don't have all these await bits in it, so I'm not sure why this isn't all in there. Dot roll. Dot roll. Constant folder. So I'm going to create a new folder there. I'm not sure this is going to work to create a new one, but we'll see. Roll.results.data.text. Get rid of the roll there. Okay, and let's execute that. Good. We've got all this. What kin do you need a name for? So I need to work on this. Oh God. Hold on a second. So this one's working right here, but not in this one. So this Matt's macros one is not. Okay, so maybe I'm copying stuff badly here. Let's open this up instead. And yeah, here we go. Look at all these macros. So the general encounter table is actually working. We've got this Forbidden Lands stuff. So maybe this is the wrong one to be using here. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna do some tidying up here. So I guess the previous compendium entry I was looking at was the import from Forbidden Lands that I was looking at. That's why this is also only looking at action and theme, whereas when I clicked down here, it actually had the location oracle on there as well. So these are all old. I'm gonna actually just remove all of these. Delete entry. Leave these 2 on there for now. I'm gonna delete these. Delete these. Delete that. Okay, so here's what we want. We want roll dice. Execute. Okay, look at this. Game.2. Okay, this is probably not going to work then. Yeah, so this isn't going to work because it's Twilight 2000 specific. The roll on table should work because it's just looking at. I can basically roll in any table that exists really quickly. So we'll copy that across. Encounter cards we can ignore. The yes or no one we want to keep. So if we click on that, it's got the await, it's got the roll, so this should be fine. If we click on execute macro, we get Jack of Hearts strong yes. That's good. Tidy this up ever so slightly because we are going to possibly return to this Twilight 2000 campaign in the future. Okay, so these should all work. I mean, I did make sure that these all worked late, like after I did all this stuff. Help for hazardous, we're going to put in there the D66. I mean, that was working before anyway. I'm not going to touch it. Urban sites, we want to copy across the D6 one. Roll 1d6. I don't know why that's in there. It's easy enough to make myself if I need it. Settlement faction, settlement population. We don't need initiative. We don't need encounter cards. So the Ironsworn Oracles. There we go. We got all 3 that we want. We're going to copy that across. All right, here we go. Now we're doing what we need. The D100. Let's have a look at that one. It just rolls the D100. So that was the same as this one. Okay, fine. The dice roller. Does this actually work? No, so this is a leftover. That could probably come out as well. Anyway, I'm going to leave it for now. NPC generator new. Let's click on that. Let's click execute macro. There we go. We got all the stuff that we need there. So this is the one we want. We want the new one. They're all on tables we don't need anymore. The settlement, village, and castle is all from Forbidden Lands. So that's all we need. So that's all in there now. I'm going to hit close. These are now basically saved. If I go to the compendium entries, and under here I've got Twilight 2000 macros and Twilight 2000 tables. Those are the ones I want. So I'm going to log out from here. I am then going to go into my data. This is where things get a little bit complex. I don't expect people to necessarily do this as well, but with WorldMill, which is the hosting I have for Forbidden Lands, I have to basically access my files through file transfers because it's a hosting provider. So the way I have to do that is I come to the mill that I have. In this case, it's Tavern 1. I go to Worlds. I go to Twilight 2000 Co-op. I go to the packs in there, and I'm going to look here. I've got these 2 new packs that I've created. I'm going to copy these 2. I'm going to paste them in a folder on my hard drive. It's just very quickly. I mean, it's only 179 kilobytes altogether for these two files, so it's done it really quickly. Okay, I'm then going to come back a bit. I'm going to copy over this world.json JavaScript file. I'm then going to rename it to say, you can't see this because I'm doing it on my other screen here. In fact, I'll just show it. It doesn't really matter. Here I've got world.json. I'm going to rename it to twilight2000.json. I'm going to open it in Notepad++. And here you can see I've got all these packs listed here, right? So now what I want to do, I'm going to keep this off to the side here for a second. I'm going to come back over to here. I'm going to go into my other mill. And this has my, here, Year Zero Mini Zombie Solo. This one here. And actually, before I do this, I'm just to be on the safe side, I'm going to log out of it, so I'm not in it currently. I'm going to go back to my file transfer program. I'm going to go into the packs bit here, and I'm going to add those 2 packs that I just created. So I'm going to come here. I'm going to find here Twilight 2000 macros and tables. I'm going to drag and drop them in there. There they are. I'm then going to go back here. I'm going to copy the JSON file. Remember, this is for my zombie one. I'm going to drop it in here. Here it is. I'm going to open it in Notepad++. And basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to add those two entries in here. And I'm going to come down here. Here they are here, the Twilight 2000 ones. So I'm going to copy these bits here. I'm going to paste them into this one underneath this one here, like so. The spacing is off on that, so I'm just going to bring that back in because that's how it is auto doing stuff. I'm going to keep all the names the same here, except I need to have it pointing to some other bits here. So that the system isn't Twilight 2000, it's Alien RPG. So I'm going to change that here and here. The ABS path for some reason is broken, so we're going to copy this down here. We're going to add it to this like that. And that one's missing as well, which is kind of interesting. So I'm going to copy this one. I'm going to go over here and add that in. This should say M tables. I don't know why that was missing. Right. And for this one, basically, I just need to change the world that it's pointing to. So instead of saying it's accessing Foundry, the world that it's looking for is this Year Zero Mini Zom Solo. Copy that. But if I put it under packs, and it's called that name, so this should all be the same. I'm going to copy change this name too as well, like that. Okay, that looks good. I'm missing some commas here. Then you put the commas in. There's already a comma there. Missing a comma here. That looks good, I think. So we'll try that. So I'm going to hit save. I'm going to shrink that down. I'm going to re-drag this up, and I'm going to drop it back into my file transfer program. It's going to come up and it's going to say, do I want to overwrite it? Yes, let's overwrite it. It's overwritten it. Let's just check very quickly. 21:45 is the time right now. Great. So let's highlight all of these very quickly, remove them, get rid of that. We're going to come back over here. I'm going to re-log in as GM. Then I'm going to come over here to my compendiums. And there's currently not going to be anything in here. If I create a compendium folder, you can see I've got these M macros, but I don't have the Twilight 2000 one. So what you have to do is you have to create a compendium. I'm going to call it the same name, Twilight 2000 dash tables. Make sure that's actually what it's called. Let me bring up my Windows Explorer again. So Twilight 2000 dash worlds. Where's the other one? Oh, that's, sorry. Yeah, it's the database I'm looking for. So Twilight 2000 dash tables is the first one. So to hit it like that. Document type is roll table. Create the compendium. Okay. I don't know where that's gone, but we've gone on Matt's content here. That's where it's gone, right here. So I'm going to right click on that and I'm going to hit import all content. Hit yes. And there you go. I've imported 26 roll tables from this Twilight 2001. So if I go over to my table entry here, you can see here I've got this Twilight 2000 tables. Open it up and look, there they all are. If I click on, anyway, they're there. That's the main thing, right? So I'm going to go back to my compendium entries. I'm going to do the same. Create compendium. We're going to call this one Twilight 2000 macros. Was the other one? This is a macro thing here. So I'm just recreating what's already existing in my Foundry instance, but I haven't created the actual bits in this instance yet. So I'm kind of creating the compendium entries, and then I'm going to be importing the content that's already there into them. So I go to macros, right-clicking, and click on import all content, hit yes, and I've got 16 macros. So again, the icons are going to be missing here. So if I get rid of this Ironsworn one, let's remove the macro. I bring up this macro folder here. And here they all are. I've got all this one's called settlement and stuff, right? I got Ironsworn oracles. I know this bottom one's going to be the right one. I'm going to drag it and drop it there. In fact, what I want to do is I want to delete the macros, the old ones I brought in. So I'm going to actually, because there might be some that are named the same that might be conflicting with each other. So I'm going to delete this compendium. I'm going to delete this compendium. And we're just going to check if the actual tables have been removed. They haven't. So I'm going to right click on M tables. I'm going to delete all of these as well. So I'm only left with my tables for Twilight 2000. I'm going to hit F5 to refresh. If I bring up this thing again, do I have another Ironsworn one in here? It doesn't look like it. So that's good. I'm going to type in Ironsworn. I do. It's still in there. Damn. Okay. That's unfortunate. So I know the ones starting from, like, Castle Generator shouldn't be in there. Village Generator, I didn't copy any of those across. So I guess the thing to do here would be to actually go through and delete all of these macros. You know, I'm not sure. There's probably a quicker way of doing this than one by one clicking on, delete, 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 delete. But anyway, I've got this one here. I click on it once, and there you go. I've got my action, my theme, and my location. So secure rumor, big. That's working. If I click on settlement situation, add it here, click on that. Important prisoner, click on it again. Disease. These are all working as they should. So the main thing here is I've imported the working content from Twilight 2000. I've dropped it into Foundry, into my new Foundry instance here, and that's all good. That's all ready to go. So really, the way to probably do this is to bring up my macro list here, is to look up for the ones I actually really want to have. So if we look at Ironsworn action and theme, and we click on that, we can click on the icon here, and we're saying, okay, this doesn't exist in the storage location. Fine. I will need to come up with an icon that I want to put in there. So, let me have a think about this very quickly. If I bring this up again and I go over to Tavern 1 and I go to Worlds, Twilight 2000, and I go to Data, I think? Icons? There should be an Ironsworn one in here somewhere. Under Scenes, maybe. I can't remember if I put all these things under Packs. No, Packs is different. Actors wouldn't be under there, I don't think. General symbols? Nothing for Ironsworn. Not if it wouldn't be under those other ones there either. So if I click on this again, let's come out of here. Click on this. It's telling me that FBL solo scenes. So it should be under scenes under here. Ah, it's because it's sharing the same Foundry instance with Forbidden Lands. So if I go to Forbidden Lands solo and go to scenes, here I've got my Ironsworn web.p bit thing, right? So if I kind of copy this, I download. Oh my god, I'm sure I've got this on my computer somewhere. Oh god, I've just shrunk everything down. Let's bring that back up. Anyway, I'm not sure I'm gonna mess with this right now. If I don't go to modules, I go to systems, alien, images, down arrow. What's that going to give me? There we go. So it's actually, oh, that's the wrong, of course it's the wrong one. Execute. Action plus theme. That's not the one I wanted. So I'm going to delete this actually. I'm going to come down to this one down here. Where was it? Ironsworn Oracles. Click on that one. Click on this one. Systems, Alien RPG, images, down arrow. Why not? We'll just use that for now. Hit save, and you can see it's updated it down here as well, which is what I wanted. Yeah. Cool. What I want to have is as you can see here, if I bring this over again, hold on a sec. So if I bring this up, you can see here there's an actual picture from the Ironsworn cover that's being used as the icon there. I'm gonna have to go through and do this on my own time, change all these bits and pieces. So that's fine. I guess the one thing I really want to look at is the NPC generator. Where was that? NPC generator. See if this is the right one. Click on it. Nothing's happening, so that can't be the right one. Here's the new one. There we go. So we'll get rid of this one. We're going to delete the macro, in fact, because we know it's the wrong one. It should be gone now. NPC generator new. Click on that. Oh, come on. Game table. So let's look at the tables that it's looking for here. NPC descriptor. Got it. And it's got information in there. Good. NPC goal. And then NPC should be creating a journal entry here. I don't think I need this folder, so that might be problematic here. Maybe. Hold on. Oh, so it's all this nationality stuff, right? And then it's looking for names American female, names American male, etc. They're all in here. So I don't know why this isn't working. Interesting. They're all in there too. I copied them all across. So for some reason this isn't working. I'm going to think about maybe if I take out this journal entry bit here. And here. And execute it. There we go. Now it's working. So there's something a bit wonky with the maybe I needed to create. Ah, that's what it was. That's what it was. Let me bring that back then. NPC generator, edit. So it looked like this. So what I need to do, this is what was missing. So I need to create actually a folder under my journals called NPCs, exactly like it's written there, right? So NPCs, create the folder. There it is. And then I'm going to add back in here this journal entry line. We'll see if this works. It might not. It's basically becoming like a minor coding tutorial. Apologies if you're not really interested in this, but this is kind of important to get Foundry up and running. So let's see about executing that macro. Here it's working. I'm going to click American Feminine. I've got Rebecca, Smug, Goal, Revenger Wrong, or Avenger Wrong. Okay, we're going to close that. We're going to check under NPCs. There she is, Rebecca. Nice. So it's working as intended. I just needed to add this NPCs folder to get it to work. Cool. So I guess the thing to really do first is to create my character for this solo game. And I'm going to be using a mix of content for this because I don't have the tables worked out for what I'm going to eventually use. So I'm going to get from in fact, I might even bring up the PDF because I've got the PDF for it too. Give me 1 second. Open role-playing folder. Post-apocalyptic. Or is it OS? It's in my OSR folder. Or is it into the odd? Because it's into the odd hack. There it is. All right. So I'm opening a game called The Dead Are Coming. Here it is. I'm going to make it into fit the page. And basically this is a zombie game which was on Kickstarter. I was a Kickstarter backer for it. I even got the print copy of it by Diego Nogueira, and who's a really cool creator from Brazil. And it's a zombie survival game. I've run a session of it, one shot of it, but this is kind of like was the inspiration. Like running this, I did really enjoy it, but I wanted to use my own system. I thought it would be a really good fit for User Mini, and it was. So basically, I'm gonna use some of the tables in here initially to create some of my characters. So for example here, rolling on a background, I'm gonna move this to the side. I'm gonna roll D66 here, and this is gonna be my background. So let's pull up the D66 macro, drop it in here, and click on it. A 15. So 15 is a carpenter. Okay, so I'm gonna bring up my test character. We're gonna call it PC1 for now until I get to come up with a name, and we're gonna go career-wise. I can't change it. We'll go with roughneck for now. Whatever. This is where I'm gonna have to kind of change things around a little bit. Oh man. So we'll put it in here, I think, and call it carpenter. So this is my. See, it looks pants as well. It looks really rubbish. So under personal agenda, we'll say concept, which is what it is in Year Zero Mini, and I'm going to add carpenter into here. Okay. Appearance I guess we can kind of look for some appearance items here. Something else I want to do. So physical detail, D66, we're going to come up with what I look like. Personality traits I'm going to ignore from that game. So again, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to roll a D66. I'm going to go across here to see what that looks like. I got a 32. So physical detail, 32 is old. Okay, so we're going to come down to appearance, and we're going to put in here, look, old-fashioned sideburns. Okay, let's keep looking at Year Zero Mini. Where have I got years? I haven't got the character creation stuff here. Okay, so I'm gonna bring up my PDF viewer. This is PDF Exchange Editor. I've got Year Zero Mini open here. So here's character creation. I've got the start of my concept is that I'm a carpenter. My look, I've just put in the long sideburns. So I guess I'm shaving as well. Conviction and impulse. If I look at what I did here, I'm calling it creed and quirk, but I'm going to basically just use the same concept here. So if we look at, in fact, what I might do just for fun is, I'm gonna look at The Dead Are Coming, at this personality trait, and see if I can use that as a kind of a prompt here for some elements of my personality. So we're gonna roll a D66 again. I've got a 43, and a 43 here is realistic. Yeah, interesting. So that kind of fits for a conviction for somebody in a zombie survival thing, right? You got to be realistic about things, which is also something that somebody says in Joe Abercrombie's whatever his trilogy is called, fantasy trilogy. Logan Nine Fingers, I think, says you got to be realistic about these things. So it might be something like, we'll call it here under personal agenda, we'll say creed is you've got to be realistic about things. So my whole creed is like, being very I'm very practically minded. I'm very in the now, in the moment. That kind of works. Quirk, which is, I guess we'll go with impulse slightly. Ploy, let's see if there's anything to draw from The Dead Are Coming here, just to kind of play off of. some tables at the back, which might have some like kind of quirky elements to them for NPCs. So I'm flicking through here pretty quickly. Complication, problem, that sort of thing. So I might roll a couple of times. Let's roll twice and see what kind of falls out, and see if there's anything I can play with here. So once and twice. So I'm getting a 33 and 11 doubles on both of them. So it's a D20 roll. Okay, so I'm gonna click instead. Let's do it like this. So / roll D20. I'm gonna copy that because I'm gonna do it again in a second. Got an 18. Roll again. And I got a 15. 18 and 15. Okay. So 15 needs their laptop back. That doesn't work. So my complication involves a greedy hoarder. 18 is I want to recruit people. I'm perpetually drunk. I might just look at some of these like complications and just run with one of them instead. Is a pyromaniac is one of the classic ones. I like setting fire to things. And that could be fun for solo. Could be very problematic as well. Hear voices could be interesting, but it's not something I really want to run with. It follows a cannibal cult. I've been attacked, searching for an antidote. Been bitten. So some of these problems aren't really going to work here. The complications, I think, are more exciting. I don't want to kind of be an alcoholic. Involves a greedy hoarder. Could be something there for like a plot hook, though. I'm gonna go with. Am I gonna go with pyromaniac? It seems like the default a lot of times for me, but I think for now, one of these impulses here is, where is it? If in doubt, start a fire. And I mean, that can be quite fun. I think I'm gonna go with it. My carpenter as well. So the quirk is, if in doubt, always start a fire. Now, for the record, I do actually want to create a big list of example, probably a D66 list, possibly D66 tables of both sample creeds and sample quirks that work for a zombie apocalypse. Probably also do D66, example concepts where you've got like, 2 columns, one for your career element and one column for your background element. But yeah, so these are things I'm kind of planning to do. Also, for example, for looks, might do something for that as well. I don't know. Okay. Friend, we're going to ignore for now. Luck points don't exist in this game. So, and when I'm playing solo, I don't really need the friend. So I'm going to leave the friend alone for now. If I need it later, I can come under here under relationships, and I can basically add somebody in here if I need to, like who my friends are. Attributes. Yeah, I've renamed them, but I'll look at that in a second. And basically one of the other big things I want to change that kind of fell out of the some feedback I got from running the one-shot was about inventory management and consumables and resources and things like that. And actually, I think for a zombie apocalypse, it makes sense to use the Year Zero engine's default system for basically how it handles encumbrance. And that is, you take your strength stat, you multiply it by 2, and that gives you your health. For some reason, that's why. Sorry about that. Seems my video for my face has been frozen for some time. Very distracting. Apologies. Yeah. Camus, yep, just spotted that. Thanks. Okay, so I think I'm more or less ready. The one thing I just kind of wanted to mention was about, again, my inventory. if I put a strength of 6 here, I'm not going to have a strength of 6. So this is what I want to also think about is, how I'm going to do my attribute spread. So again, if I pull up this and we look at my attributes, like how many attributes to start off with, we've got 4 in year 0. In not just year 0, I mean, you can add more attributes. I have done for some other year 0 mini spins, but for this one, the tweaking the number, the rule of thumb that I've put here is that 10 attributes for a Grady campaign, which I want, 14 for a more heroic campaign, add 2 for a one-shot. So in theory, I should be running with 10, right? However, for a solo game, I would suggest that you would add 2 to this number again. Like add another 2 if you're playing solo. But I would probably maybe even say, like, be generous on that. So maybe add 2 if you're playing co-op with one other person, like if you've got 2 players, or add 4 for solo, something like that. So looking at these numbers, in fact, what I want to do as well is I want to look at what I did for this game here. And as you can see here, I've got 6 and 8. So these my players here were playing with 14 points for a co-op one, and that kind of felt right. And for solo, I don't think I would go lower than 14. 14 sounds about right to me. So I think I'm going to stick with that here. And I think I'm going to go with a pretty straightforward 4-4-3-3 spread. Bearing in mind a carpenter is going to have some decent physical fitness, because or at least physical strength from doing from being having a physical job. Agility doesn't necessarily need to be as high. I'm not sure I want to go with that. Wits and empathy. So if I'm kind of thinking about which 2 do I want to have for. I kind of want to go with I'm kind of a friendly carpenter, because if you're like a general contractor, you need to know how to kind of it helps if you're friendly, because then you get more, it helps with work, getting work, keeping work, etc. So we're going to go with this. I'm not the most agile of people, and in fact, the way we're kind of renaming these is guts and speed, guile and rapport. Guile is not just your wits, but also your deception, that sort of thing. And rapport is building a rapport with people. I kind of like having that as a 4 there for this. Yeah, so we go with that. Strength being 4 means I'm going to have 8 spaces to carry things in my inventory. So you can see here, it's kind of doing it as kilograms. That doesn't really matter. But what I can do is, oh man, this is a little bit too crunchy for what I want, really. I'm gonna have to add a bunch of items here, which is gonna be a pain in the bum. So if I say, like, for example, create an item, let's think about what kind of weapon I have, right? Because this is several months out into zombie apocalypse, and I want to have a weapon of some kind, like how I'm able to keep the zombies at bay. As a carpenter, it could be a tool, but I think maybe I'll have I think one of the things I want to have is a carpenter's tool belt. So like a belt that you wear that's got carpentry things on it. I want to leave it vague for now, but it's going to obviously have like a hammer. It's probably got a pouch that's going to have some nails in it for hammering nails and things really quickly. Might have some kind of a handsaw type of thing in it. I don't really know. I might have to think about that. Definitely screwdrivers, stuff like that. Nothing battery powered. So this is all going to be kind of basic stuff. I might even be able to put stuff into this tool belt if I need to kind of carry some things with me. So I guess I would have had that anyway, and I would have just kept it. I would have just kept it when the apocalypse happened. Maybe the apocalypse happened while I was working. So create new item, carpenter's tool belt. We're just going to leave it like that. And we're going to drag that over into my active items. And I think I click on it once, and there it goes into active. One thing I didn't do with it, of course, is I need to give it a weight. And we're going to say that the weight of this is probably 0.5. So it's like a light item. It's going to count towards my encumbrance, but not a super huge amount. Weapon-wise, what's a good weapon? Anybody in the chat, like, if you've got any ideas for a weapon, let me know. One thing I wanted to do is I wanted to think of I do want to create some tables for items as well that people roll on, like randomly, but you get to pick your weapon. So you can kind of pick whether you want a ranged weapon or you want a, I don't know, melee weapon of some description. And this is Kentucky. The thing that jumps out in my mind straight away is a baseball bat, right? Kentucky, the Louisville Slugger is like the official baseball bat of Major League Baseball, MLB, and they're made, like, their headquarters are in Louisville, Kentucky. So I kind of imagine, like, if you've got a baseball bat in Kentucky, you're probably gonna have a Louisville Slugger because you're probably quite proud of that fact. So I think I'm gonna have a Louisville Slugger here. So I'm not gonna call it that by name, but I'm gonna go here and put create item baseball bat. Create the item. The weight of this is gonna be an interesting one. I'm just gonna quickly look at some of the other Year Zero Engine games. In fact, I'm gonna look at Twilight 2000. How Twilight 2000 does it. Player's manual, can't open it, of course not. Role playing, Year Zero Engine, Twilight 2000, player's guide, core rulebook. What's that? Oh, second edition. Right. That's not what I want. What's going on here? Fourth edition. Oh man, I'm looking at the wrong thing. Player's manual. There we go. Weapons, vehicles, and gear. There we go. So the weight of these is a 1. Okay, so I'm just going to stick with that. Knives weigh less, but a baseball bat, where it says club here, we got a weight of 1. So I'm going to stick with what's been done in other Year Zero games. So weight is going to be 1. Type data storage. Right. We're going to remove this. And we're going to instead create an item, which is not an item, but it's a weapon. And we're going to call it a baseball bat. Create the new item. And the weight is 1. Class doesn't matter. Type is melee. Yeah. Damage 1. Bonus 1. There's no power rating here. Okay. So baseball bat. Click on it. There it goes. And in fact, I can edit it here now and call it Louisville Slugger. And it doesn't change the item over here. I've just changed it like as it is on my character. So I've got my Louisville Slugger, my carpenter's belt, my tool belt. Okay, and it probably would have Lucille. Yeah, I mean it's not gonna have it's not gonna be wrapped with razor wire like in The Walking Dead. But I like that as a weapon. Like I'm kind of smacking the zombies down as I come on them and getting away from them. I can bash their brains in like you would see in typical zombie genre stuff. But really, it's about, I don't want something bladed because I don't want it getting stuck and not being able to retrieve it and potentially, like, maybe I've seen that happen to people. I like having a blunt item. And yeah, I don't want to have a ranged weapon of any kind. I don't want a bow and arrow. I don't want a crossbow, a pistol, or rifle, or anything like that. Too loud, too slow. And I probably tend to try and avoid conflict if I can, rather than sniping people from far off. So I did want to create. So that my idea here was that, like in Year Zero Nano, when I'm doing items, I've changed it a little bit from Year Zero Mini. Year Zero Mini has you coming up with. If I bring it up here, it has you coming up with an asset, and then you choose 2 other pieces of equipment. And I'm going to kind of stick to that as an idea, but instead of an asset, we're going to say pick your weapon, and then 2 other items of equipment that make sense for your concept, kind of. So yeah, I'm actually going to look here at the gear list for Twilight 2000, because it's the most similar game we've got. In fact, no, I'm not. I'm going to look at the Dead Are Coming here, and I'm going to go back to create a survivor to these tables here, because these have some interesting ones. So we got some items here, very into the odd style. You get a background and you get 2 items that go with it. So if I look again at my carpenter, a saw and a hard piece of wood, I don't really like those. I've already taken the tool belt from one, so I'm going to keep looking here at maybe some other stuff I might have. I like the idea of a dog, but I think I'm going to leave that for now. Da, 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 da. You know what? I'm going to roll. I'm going to randomly roll D66 and see what I come up with. 13. 13 is, and I'm going to take that and swap it as well. So we got inmate. I've got a chain and a dodgeball, or 31 if I swap the numbers around. Gives me a lumberjack. It's kind of not too far off from carpenter, I guess. They're kind of related professions a bit, working with wood. A chainsaw. I don't want a chainsaw. A road atlas. I don't want a road atlas. Inmate. A chain. I mean, a chain could be useful. I'm going to stick with that. So maybe I've got a chain from somewhere. I'm thinking, yeah, this chain could be useful. So we're going to come back over here to items. We're going to, here, create an item. It's a simple item. We're going to call it chain. Create. The weight of this thing is going to be half. So it's, I mean, I guess chain is kind of heavy. I'm going to give it a 1, I guess. So, got a chain. I'm going to add that in. There we go. So that is, I think, Year Zero Mini-wise, that's my character complete. Wealth, we're going to ignore. I think maybe one of the things we were thinking about was we'd actually put bullets, I think, in for here for ammo. Like, ammo is your currency in this game. So also using, like, Alien doesn't really have anything for that. But I think what I can do here is I can create an item, and we can call it bullets. As an item, weight is 0. I'm happy with that. Yeah. I'm gonna drag it in here, and then we're gonna modify it to say how many we've got, because there's no way of putting. It's only got weight and cost. It doesn't have quantity, right? And I don't think there's a way to change the quantity here. No. So I'm gonna roll a simple D6 to see how many bullets I start the game with. And these can be used. I mean, really, the idea behind this is that I'm replacing the kind of random. So if you look at Year Zero Mini has, has this wealth mechanic, which is basically, instead of counting like currency, you're just looking at your wealth level to see what you can afford. That doesn't really work for a post-apocalyptic economy. So I want to throw that out the window. I want to work completely off of like a narrative barter sort of mechanic, but also bullets are kind of the de facto currency, which I kind of like that. It's kind of what they do in Metro, the Metro game series. It's what happens in Year Zero Mini, and I just really like it. Like, you can use bullets as currency, whatever. So I'm gonna roll D6. Ha! I get to start off with 6, and these bullets I'm gonna say are 9mm. So I'm kind of specifying exactly what kind of bullets I've got here, which I probably don't really need to do, but there we go. I've got 9mm bullets. I've got 6 of them. Yeah, so that could be useful. Maybe I've got like one magazine that's got 6 bullets left in it, something like that. Adrian asking, when will this be released? I mean, this solo campaign is really going to be like playtesting it a bit with the solo stuff. I want to release this as a Year Zero Mini spin soon. I don't want to say more than soon, because there's a lot of stuff we've got coming up, including a new baby in 3 weeks. Pitchfork is something that is another game I'm working on that I really want to prioritize. So really, once I've got Pitchfork into a state where I'm happy with it and I want that to be released, that's my kind of my current creative focus. I have a bunch of projects like this one that are kind of in the wings that are Year Zero Mini focused, and what I want to do with these is I want to basically create also sort of like beta playable versions of them, so people can kind of run off, play test them, play with them, and give me feedback, and then I can obviously change and amend things before I get it ready for a 1.0 release. So it's going to be sometime next year. So yeah. Stuart, is Year Zero Mini an SRD that can be used by other creators to make games? I mean, I don't want to use the term SRD, but it is using the Year Zero engine, which has an open gaming license. It's using the Wizards open gaming license. So if you go to the very last page of Year Zero Mini, you have here the open gaming license, and effectively, what it means is you can hack Year Zero Mini to your heart's content. You can create games using Year Zero Mini as its rules. You can replicate the text from Year Zero Mini in whatever you're releasing. Basically, all you need to do is you just need to say, you need to include Year Zero Mini. That's like, this is a Year Zero Mini game, kind of, or like powered. I'm not sure yet exactly how I'm going to call it, like powered by Year Zero Mini or whatever. But yes, you can create and sell stuff with it. The main thing is, because it's using the Year Zero engine, you have to include this open gaming license. That's a requirement by Free League to be allowed to use their engine. So you'll have to add this like open gaming license text. You'll have to amend the last part, this section 15, with your own content. But basically, you would do is you would add, like, leave it as it is here with Year Zero engine by Free League, Free Lagan, Year Zero Mini, copyright 2021 by like my bit here. And then you would add another line like between these two, which is basically your product with your copyright, your name, like all that sort of stuff. And then you would identify your open game content and your product identity, and really just keep the content exactly as it is in here. And you would just say here with product identity is anything in here that you don't want people, that isn't open, that isn't shareable, that you kind of want to maintain the rights to. And I've got here like the logos, the symbols, the designs, and graphics relating to Three Skulls Pub or Year Zero Mini. So for example, like this is my publisher logo. I really don't want people makes it look like that they've produced stuff under my publishing label, which they haven't. But like using the Year Zero Mini logo, I will let people use that. In fact, I kind of want people to use that, but I want to retain I don't want people to change it. I don't want people to modify it. I want to retain control of what that logo looks like. So that's kind of, I'm including that as product identity. Stuart, you can get in touch with me if you want more information about that. Anybody can like drop a comment if you want into the video, if you want to know more information about creating content with Year Zero Mini. I'm more than happy to talk about it, and you can sell content with it on whatever platform you want without giving me a penny, really. All you need to do is you need to basically just, make sure that you're giving me, you're including like this open gaming license, and really I'd like you to say that it's like a Year Zero Mini spin or whatever it's going to be called. And I'm actually still in the process of figuring out exactly what I want that to be called and what it's going to look like. And the first time it's going to really be shown up is when I'm going to be producing either this zombie game or whatever the game I produce first that is implementing Year Zero Mini as a framework into an actual playable game. So once that is all kind of figured out, I can probably give a little bit more details. But yeah, get in touch with me if you want to kind of find out a bit more. Anyway, back to the zombie game. Where was I? Oh yeah, I was talking about wealth. So stress is the new thing. That's why I'm using the Alien Foundry module right now. One thing I really want to do is I want to flesh out my concept a bit here. So where it says carpenter, I want to basically figure out who I am as a carpenter. So yeah, I mean, I want to put a kind of a background element. So it's kind of where I came from. So am I kind of from like the rural, like, am I from this part of Kentucky? And I think the answer is probably yes. So I think we're going to call myself a, for now I'm just going to call myself a rural carpenter. And the reason I'm saying this is because I need to kind of, not only am I a carpenter, so I have the skills and the knowledge that go with being a carpenter, but I'm also from a kind of a rural background. And that means, things to do with rural life I'm going to know about. And that's important because in Year Zero Mini, we have something called a knowledge roll. And the knowledge roll, you roll a number of dice based on your concept. And if your concept is relevant, is a little relevant to what you're trying to figure out, you add. So basically, first you come up with a number of dice based on how obscure or how well known widely known the information is, the knowledge is, and then you add dice to that if your concept applies. If it's a little relevant, you add 1. If it's fairly relevant, you add 2. And if your concept is extremely relevant, it's saying the GM should simply give you the information. Now, in a solo game, you don't really have a GM feeding you information, so I'm not sure how much that's going to come up in. We'll figure this out, but basically, it's kind of important to knowledge rolls to have a concept that kind of includes your sort of background as well as your career. So the last thing to think about is health, really, and with Year Zero Mini. I'll just show you the character sheet here. And you can see here, you can take like 3 harm, and after you've taken your 3rd harm, if you take a 4th harm, you're downed. So I think the easiest way to handle this is to give myself 3 harm. So the first time I take damage, I'm going to go down to 2 harm. The next time I take damage, I'm taking my 2nd bit of harm. I'm going down. Hold on. Let me figure this out properly. So if I start with 3 and I take 1 damage, that's the equivalent of 1 harm. So I'm going to go down. Then I take another bit of damage. That's my 2nd bit of harm. Takes me down to 1. Then I take another damage. That's 3 harm. I'm down to 0. So I actually need to start with 4. So 4 is my healthy state, and then it's going to drop down. When I get to 0, then I'm downed. Okay, so you start with 4 health. My stress is going to start at 0. I don't have any armor. I'm not an NPC. I think I'm happy with this now. So, yeah. I mean, a lot of this isn't... I mean, we got here the panic. This is going to come into play. Radiation's not going to come into play. We could use infection as a radiation mechanic, but I'm not doing it like that. Doing it slightly differently. Yeah. So I just need a name for my character now. And to name my character, I'm actually going to use the NPC generator here that I've got. And I'm going to give myself... I'm going to be a kind of a he, him. Chris. Looks driven, goal, rebel against power. It doesn't really make much sense here. But driven, okay, whatever. I'm going to delete that from the NPC list because it's not an NPC, it's me. So I'm Chris. All right. And a surname. Oh. Name generators would be a nice thing to come up with too. There's a name generator in here, I think. I'm going to roll a d20. I'm going to look at the American names, and we'll see, randomly select one there. So / roll d20. And a 19. So we've got... here we've got American, Arabic, Brazilian, Chinese, French, German, Irish, Italian, Japanese, Russian for masculine and feminine names. I'm looking at the American names here. I'm going with 10, and then the second 10 are the 20 bits. So we go to the 9th for the feminine names, and the surname is Bullert. Okay, that doesn't. I mean, these don't seem particularly. You know what? I'm gonna roll a. Hold on, we're gonna do this a bit differently. We're gonna roll. We're going to roll a coin. Is it RC or DC, I think? 1. So we're going with is it a 1 or... Hold on, I'm going to roll this a couple more times. We're sticking with a 1 as a result, but I'm not sure if it's a 0 or a 1 that you get back. For, like... Hold on. I'm going to roll it again. Let's see if it's not a heads. Is it tails? It's heads again, typically. Give me tail. There we go. 0. Okay. So 0 would be the masculine names. 1 would be the feminine names. I'm going to stick with that. And now we're going to roll D100, and we're going to see what we come up with. 41. 41. My surname is Galliard. Okay. not a big fan of that. Chris. I'll keep it for now. I might change it later to something else. Cool. So Chris Galliard is my character. I'll come up with I'll have to find a portrait using. Probably I'll use Artbreeder to come up with a portrait. Artbreeder, if I bring it up here, is a cool little website. you're allowed to use these as well. So there's no issues with me creating something here. And then, yeah. Hold on. I don't want people to see my login information online here. Okay, there we go. So let's bring that back over. Okay, so we're gonna go with random, and we're gonna breed two people together. I want something that I want realistic photo type images. So we're gonna click on this one here. So this will be my mother. We're gonna crossbreed my mother with random photo person. That guy will do. Keep it in the middle here. We're gonna go with style wise. I don't really care. We'll go like that. Why not? No sideburns. I need sideburns. You know what? I'm gonna do this a bit differently. We're gonna go with browse. We're gonna go with search, and I'm gonna type in sideburns. See if that comes up with anything. Hey, look at that! Look at that! Oh yeah, now we're talking. Old-fashioned sideburns. Okay. Whoa. Those are some nice mutton chops. I want something that looks like a photo. I don't want Hugh Jackman. Maybe we'll go with Hugh Jackman to hold on. I don't look like Wolverine. This guy looks like Wolverine. I should probably be checking my phone every time it buzzes, just in case my wife is going into labor. That would probably be... It is from my wife. And of course, I've been drinking a beer in case I need to drive to the hospital. That's not great. So I'll stop drinking right now. I've had a half of one. This should be fine. Let's go with this guy here. Children. So click on this guy. We're gonna bump the chaos up. We're going to make him older. I love this program. Let's make me younger. Let's see what the difference looks like here. Nope. Older is definitely... That's gonna reset this. That's okay. We'll keep it like that. Take the art aspect down, so it's a bit more photorealistic. Okay, that's coming along. We're gonna go with let's see what happens when I change around the kind of hair settings here. What that does to the whole thing. It just darkens everything for black hair. Okay. Whoa. Nope. What about if I increase blonde? Decrease blonde. Make me more go more gray for some reason. Oh God, what's happening with your eyes? Right, that is a rabbit hole I don't want to fall into. So I'll figure that out later. Okay. I'm an hour and a half into this stream. I guess really the thing to think about now, again, I want to come up with some plot hooks for how things are going to start. If we come to The Dead Are Coming, and we look at some things to do in the zombie apocalypse, right? I'm going to roll on this. It's a D100 table. And I'm going to use that as a kind of a plot starter. So I do actually have a D100 roller I can use. So let's pull that in. $29, first page. 29 says, people show up saying that they already claimed a shelter and want the group out. Okay, we can use that. So my journal entry is, I'm going to go create folder. I'm going to call this journal. Create the folder, and we're going to say the first entry in here is starting scenario. Okay, we're good. My wife's not going into labor. We're all good. We're all good. But I definitely should probably stop drinking a beer not every evening, but of an evening until after the baby's born. Good. Starting scenario. Enhance journal entry, short journal, create the entry. So what we're going to say here is been traveling, been surviving on my own, currently staying in a house on the Cumberland River, in a small house on the Cumberland River. I think it's called the Cumberland River. I'm just going to pull up Google Maps here. Where are we? There's Pineville, and is that right? Cumberland River. There we go. I remembered it. Cool. So I'm staying in a small house on the Cumberland River. Some survivors showed up one night, and after a tense standoff, they sent me packing. Okay, how many of them were there? It's the first question I'm going to ask the Oracle. Let's roll a D6. I'll just roll the D66 because I've got it there, and I'm going to I'll take the tens digit. We'll take the ones digit as the number. Just make this simple. 6. 66. So 6 survivors. A group of 6 survivors showed up one night after a tense standoff. They sent me packing. So 6 survivors. Now I guess they didn't have any. If they'd have had guns, I'd probably be dead now. You've got to be realistic. We'll get to that later. Okay, and I think that's where we are. So that's the kind of starting position. There's a group of 6 people. I had a nice little thing going. I had a little house that I'd been kind of like squatting in on the river. Maybe I'd been doing some fishing or something, and they sent me packing. So probably anything I'd been collecting is all still in that house, and I don't have them anymore. One thing I want to do is I want to do some resources similar to Forbidden Lands, or kind of like how Twilight 2000 does things as well, which is basically with the resource die. Does Twilight 2000 do with the resource die? I'm actually going to check that quickly. Let's look at the index and go to resources. It doesn't. It's got like MREs, and it's got like units of water and stuff. So it's actually not doing the resource roll. But I like the resource roll. I want to do the resource roll from Forbidden Lands in here. So that's easy. It's an easy thing to implement. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to say, how to do this. Using the Forbidden Lands rules, we're going to go with, you've got a D6, a D8, a D10, and a D12, sorry. 4 steps to resource die, and we're going to go with both water and, I mean, you kind of need a lot of water, so it's like I think a canteen makes a bit more sense. And the meal, like the food, I wonder if I think I think I'll go with like Mutant Year Zero, and I might just count it. Although I kind of like the resource element of it, but I want this to feel a little bit different. So I only managed. So I had to leave a bunch of stuff behind, and left with what I had on me. So that's my no, we want to close that. We want to save it first. That's that button there. There we go. Close. Cool. So we're going to go to items again. I'm going to create an item. We're going to call this food. Weight is going to be half a unit. In fact, we're going to make this 0.25 for 1 unit of food. We're going to create an item. We're going to call this water. And water is going to be 0.25 per unit of water that I've got. So water, we're going to call it like a 1 liter bottle. Whatever that is in American. 1 liter in fluid ounces. 30. So I think they do like 32 ounce water bottles. Whoop. Microsoft Bing. Oh, come on. $32-ounce water. 32-ounce Coke. God, I have no idea. Like, if you buy a bottle of water, like a plastic bottle of water, like what's the equivalent like a liter? Do they come in 2-liter bottles? I know. I don't think so. So we'll go here and go Walmart. Spring water. 33.8 fluid ounces. So it's like a liter. Is it? I guess. God. $23.7 pack of 6. Ugh. So they're really odd. I think they sound like they're taking milliliter values and converting them into ounces. Like, let me just do this again very quickly. So if I do, what was that? 1 liter in fluid ounces. 35.19. 33.8. So it's just under a liter. Okay, if I do 660. Whoops. 0.66. 23.22, 23.7, a little bit more than whatever. All right, so we'll just say it's like a liter because yeah, I live in Germany and metric is a bit easier for me. So we're gonna go with 1 liter bottles of water. We're gonna open my character again, and we're going to say under inventory how much food and how much water have I got. This is gonna be important. So I'm gonna roll a simple d6 for both. The first d6 is going to be for, let's make this for food. How much food have I got? 3. So I've got 3 units of food. So I'm going to click on that. We're going to go in here, we're going to edit it, and we're going to say we got food times 3, and that means the weight it's taking up is going to be 0.75, right? Okay, close. Good. And then for water, how much water have I got? 4. Okay, not too bad. This is going to weigh a kilo, like a whole kilo. Now, actually, a liter of water weighs a kilogram. So really this should be 1. And that means I've got 4 liters. I've got 4 kilos of water on me if I'm doing this realistically, right? So I'm going to put here 4 liters. That's quite a lot to be lugging around too. But hey, that's what it is. So we'll change it to 4. Click on that. This should probably be a bit more as well. I think food should maybe be a half an item each. So we'll make this into 1.5. Whether it's tin cans or whatever it is. Yeah. So I'm actually going to amend these item values here too, because I'm going to be using these. Weight is going to be 1 per liter of water. Food is going to be 0.5 per unit of food. All right. So you can see here, already I'm up to 8 kilograms of encumbrance, which is my limit. I can't really take anything else without running out. Yeah, so that's kind of interesting. I mean, I might have to leave some water behind. I'm going to be drinking water, and then it's going to be going down. My weight will be going down. So that's fine. I think I'm gonna have a backpack where all this stuff's gonna be held in. So I'm gonna click here on backpack. It doesn't weigh anything. It just allows me to hold stuff. I'm gonna drag that over, and that's equipped as well. All right. In fact, we're gonna do it like this. We're gonna unequip some stuff. How do I do that? I'm gonna right click here. Yeah, right click, right click, right click, right click. So in my backpack, and in fact, we're gonna say right click on that as well. We're gonna say my bullets. I'm gonna keep my bullets in my tool belt on me. Then I got my backpack. In the backpack, I've got I got food, I've got water, and I've got this chain. And the backpack's going at the bottom for some reason. I don't know how this is sorting stuff. It doesn't look like it's doing it by alphabetical order. Whatever. Oh, it's doing it by order here. That's interesting. Okay. So I might like put these into folders and rearrange them so that they kind of get rearranged over here as well. Cool. So that's what I've left with. I got food, I got water. I'm kind of figuring this out as I go along. All right. Time of day. What time of day is it? We've said that they turn up one night, and they sent me packing. So they sent me packing out into the middle of the night. So maybe we'll start the game right from there. And I don't want to go the full survival mini game that Forbidden Lands and Twilight 2000 have, where I'm kind of figuring out random encounter. Well, maybe I do want to do that, random encounters every day and stuff. And really follow suit with what Twilight 2000 has. Come up with my own general encounters of things that happen that could be interesting, actually. That's going to be a lot more work. It's going to feel less like a kind of lightweight narrative game, but maybe I can come up with some encounter tables that would kind of work with the zombie genre. So yeah, let me have a look at the macros that I've got here to start off with. And see if let's put this roll on tables thing. Is it this one that works? Yeah, that's a good one. And this one, execute. That one works too. Right. Generic encounter. I need to redo these, but I guess the idea is I need to put some thought actually around the procedure that's going to go into this game, asking the Oracle kind of yes or no questions. Do I encounter something? Yes or no? If you can see here, I've got these. Oh God. Why have I got 2 tables for that? 52 and okay. Okay, I don't want this one here. This one can go. Okay. Close that, click it again. Hopefully that's picked it up again. So this yes or no table. So I want to ask the Oracle. I'm asking the Oracle right now. What do I want to ask it first? I guess the thing, if I need to figure out a couple of things before I do anything more. I need to figure out where I am on this map, right? We got the Cumberland River. I want to actually figure out my starting position and where I am in relation to Pineville, which is what this game's all about. Am I in Pineville? I don't think I am. I kind of want Pineville to be like a kind of no man's land. Like people don't go there because it's a bit dangerous. For whatever reason, maybe that because there was a lot. It's a kind of a touristy area. Then maybe there was a bunch of tourists in the area when the outbreak really broke out there, and it's kind of overridden at the moment. So people stay away from Pineville. People stay away from Middlesbrough down there. People stay away from Barberville. All these places that are kind of like bigger towns because there's just like a lot of people. More than 1,000 people. Really more than a few hundred people, like you would kind of stay away. So I guess the question is like, which direction am I in? I want to say that I'm near the Cumberland River. So I guess the question is, am I going to be, upriver or downriver from, so like north or south from Pineville? If we take Pineville as the kind of the starting position. So the question for the yes/no oracle is going to be, in fact, I'm going to add the yes/no oracle to this. Where is it? Yes or no? We're going to add that to here, right next to it. And the question is going to be, am I north of Pineville along the Cumberland River? I hope it doesn't give me a maybe result. So no, I'm not north. I'm south of it. So we come here, we look at Pineville, and we follow the Cumberland River. Goes this way. So it actually comes around by this place called like East Pineville, and it kind of keeps flowing around here. This is kind of interesting. I think this is actually upriver because the mountains are up here, and it actually flows down river along here. I'm gonna take the thingy off here so you can kind of see the way kind of direction it goes. It kind of flows along here, Cumberland River, Cumberland River, Cumberland River, Cumberland River. Gets bigger and bigger and bigger. It eventually becomes the Cumberland Falls State Resort Park. So there's like some falls, I guess. Look how big this thing is getting. It's getting really big. And here it comes. Look at the size of this thing. It's massive by the time it gets here. And this is kind of like almost like a lake, but it's still called the Cumberland River. And then it kind of, I guess these are mountains as well where it's feeding in, potentially. I have no idea actually how this works. What's this thing? Dale Hollow Lake. Still the Cumberland River. Still the Cumberland River. So this is like this Cumberland River is like a really interesting, has some really interesting things that happens to it where it kind of like widens out in certain places. I'll have to look that up. It goes all the way to Nashville, looks like. It goes all the way down into Tennessee. Okay, interesting. It's still called the Cumberland River along here. As it's kind of coming back up into Kentucky here. Wow, this is a really interesting bit of geography there. And then it looks like it flows into the Ohio River. Okay, so that's what the Cumberland River does. So I'm right near the source of the Cumberland River, really, over in Pineville. Where am I right now? God. This is the state line, Russell Springs, Hazard, Manchester. I think I'm meant to be over here somewhere. Pittsburgh. Somerset. Barberville. Pineville. There we go. All right. So this is all Cumberland River. I don't want to be too far up it. I don't want to be too far away. So I'm gonna say like if how many miles away from Pineville, kind of from this point here. So if we do like Google directions, we go directions from here, and we want to say like we want to go along the road, like following the river. How many miles along the river am I? I'm going to roll a d20 for that because I think up to 20 miles kind of sounds okay. So, yeah, I'm going to roll a d20 for this. I'm 11 miles. Okay, all right. So I'm going to click somewhere like here. Right-click on that and say directions to here. How far is that miles-wise if I'm driving? 8.3 miles along the river, which is what I want, this bit here. We're going to move this along to about there, 11 miles, looks like. 11.2 miles. Okay, but this isn't on the river anymore, so I actually want to be following the river still. So let's come over here. It says 10.5 miles. This is going to do right around here somewhere, right? Miracle Road. Oh, okay, perfect. Look at this. This road is going to end at maybe like at a house or something. Look, we got a house here. It's kind of a bit weird, like taking actual people's houses, but that's fine. I'm gonna go with this. So I'm gonna say like I'm at the end of this Miracle Road here. I'm on the Cumberland River. This kind of makes sense. Yeah, there's like a compound here, but for some reason I didn't want to stay there. I thought, other groups that might come up this river might want to stay in the bigger houses. So I've come along here, and we'll say like this last building kind of looks like a camper van or something potentially. I'm not sure, but we'll say like this house here. That's where I was staying. It's a small house. There are a couple other houses along this road. That's where I am. Look at that, 10.9 miles. Perfect. Okay, so I'm on Miracle Road here on the Cumberland River, kind of halfway. Am I halfway between East Pineville and what was that town up here? South Wallens Creek. I'm not sure what it's called. South Wallens, I guess. But this kind of like town here, which is actually quite big, about the size of Middlesbrough maybe. Yeah, that's where I am. So I'm kind of 11 miles here, and I think that's where we're going to be starting myself off. It's nighttime. I'm going to zoom in here, and in fact, I'm going to come right in. Got these houses here. I'm going to click on this house. Like that. Does it change when I click on it? It doesn't really. Okay, so we've got a link here. I'm going to pop this into Foundry. Go back to my journal. Start with starting scenario. Okay, currently staying in a small house on the Cumberland River, about 11 miles northeast of Pineville. And I can put links in here. This house. Link it up. URL. Save. What happens when I click on that? Boom. There we are. Perfect. All right. Cool. So that's where I'm staying. I'm just setting up. I'm setting stuff up here so that when I actually come back to play a session of this, I can have a little think about like how I want to go, what kind of tables I might need, what kind of how I want to do encounters, and how I want to do split time up, whether I want to do it quite rigidly like Twilight 2000 and Forbidden Lands do, or whether I want to keep it a little bit more narrative. And I think just off the I mean, by all means, leave some comment, in the comments below. Let me know what you think. But I really think that this could be a good way to showcase running something like Twilight 2000 or Forbidden Lands using their procedures for things like hex crawling or map crawling, that sort of thing, with the procedures they got for them, with rolling for encounters and thinking about food every day, etc., but with having a very lightweight system behind it, not actually having this really heavy duty and certainly in Twilight 2000's instance, a very crunchy system. So I think I might actually go with that and kind of use this as a playtest to see how I feel about using the procedures for something like Twilight 2000, modifying the encounter tables and things like that, and running with it like that. So yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. So it's going to feel a little bit crunchy perhaps for a Year Zero minigame, but this is a survival game, and I think splitting, taking a cue from the kind of the creme de la creme of survival role-playing games, in my opinion, which are Forbidden Lands and Twilight 2000 and Mutant Year Zero as well, are all probably makes a lot of sense. And I just maybe think this is going to be a look at really simplifying the systems behind them. So that's what I'll do. So really, I'd like to ideally take Twilight 2000 as the poster child for what I'm going to be doing here, because it is part of the Free League workshop. It's part of kind of part of the OGL, I think, and it has solo rules built into it, which is a good place to build off of. So rather than kind of doing my own solo thing, it might be kind of cool to riff off of what's happening in Twilight 2000 there. So that's going to be some stuff I'm going to be looking at, coming up with some kind of rough like rules, not rules, but like mechanics for, procedures for, that sort of thing. And I'll come back and at some point in the future and carry on with it. So yeah, thanks for watching. I realized this is kind of a weird video because I was kind of doing a lot of different things, a lot of Foundry related stuff. So apologies for that if you weren't that interested in that. But I've got myself in a position where I'm kind of happy with how my character is starting. I've got my character fleshed out in terms of Year Zero mini character, and we'll see where we go from there. I might actually throw in the towel and not even use Foundry, just kind of thinking about it a bit, and have something like, going back to Miro here, for example. The nice thing about Miro is I can have things like a map. I can even create a hex map of the area around Pineville. You can see here I've got a token I can move around on the map. I can basically in Photoshop make like a hex map of the area if I really wanted to. I can have a character sheet, a Year Zero mini character sheet in here. I could even use this character sheet I've created here for our one shot, and just use that without any kind of tweaking. When it comes to like rolling stress and stuff, I could use Discord. So the main thing that's going to be problematic there is all of the different tables and oracles I'd be using. Where in Foundry, I can just basically click a macro and it's going to nicely roll a macro for me. The only downside is I really don't like having to try and squeeze my character into the wrong format here, as you can see here. I mean, I can right click on strength and I can add modifiers in here. So this actually could probably work quite well. So where things like my concept comes into play, in Year Zero mini, if my concept is applicable, I can get 1 or 2 extra dice. If my equipment is kind of helping, I can get 1 or 2 extra dice. So basically I can just kind of click here and say, okay, my concept applies, I get 2 extra dice for that, because it's something that like being a rural carpenter really is applicable for. And I have the right tool, like I have a tool that can help me with it. I mean, it might not be the right tool for the job, but it certainly should be able to help. So I'm going to add 3 dice to my roll. I hit the roll button and it'll take my strength and it will add all the relevant modifiers, and there we go. I mean, I've got my 6, and I've got the opportunity to push with stress, which is how I'm basically borrowing this mechanic. So this is probably something I want to keep, despite the annoying bits that I'm kind of shoehorning it in with Alien. And maybe this is something I can look at changing, getting into the guts of Foundry, getting into the guts of this module, and doing things like reskinning things like strength and agility and wits and empathy. So they say guts and speed and guile and rapport. That might be a relatively easy thing to change. I'm not sure I want to keep all the conditions here. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll add conditions in as well, because it makes sense for a survival game. I'll have to think about that. Again, let me know in the comments, like if you think it'd be kind of cool to see like using Year Zero mini as a core framework, and then building off of that without really adding too much crunch. I don't want to add crunch to it. I don't want to add skills. I don't want to add talents. I don't want to add anything like that. I want to keep that core like character focused thing on it as it is. But I could see the argument for a survival game in adding things like conditions, which have you being hungry and thirsty and cold and tired and all the rest of it. And that kind of, complicating things for you. If we look at Year Zero mini and look at how, modifiers work. I'm just going to pull this up in the core rules bit here. If anything is, creating advantages or disadvantages, it's negative dice. So it could just be as simple as like, for every condition that you have, like if you're hungry or you're thirsty or you're tired or you're cold, your dice pool is reduced by 1. But I don't know if that actually how that works. If I click starving and I click strength, what happens? Nothing happens. Okay, so I'd still have to it would just be a way of looking at it. Reduce my stress by 1 because I don't have any stress currently. If I want to reduce all of that, I don't need any of that right now. Yeah, so it's something I need to think about. And I'm kind of on the fence whether I want to whether I want to do that. Like I could definitely like here come into critical injuries. What I could do, here we go. If I go to items here, I create a folder. We'll call this conditions, right? I could create something here where I go, okay, under conditions I have hungry. Type is critical injury. There we go. Time limit, whatever. We'll leave this. It's not fatal. Modifiers. So I can say straight away, say if I'm hungry, my health is reduced, my strength is reduced. Not my health. My health stays as it is. My agility is at -1. My stress stays the same. My wits are at -1, and my empathy is at -1. That's all that really counts here. Let's see if this works. We're gonna hit close, and we'll add here. Okay, I've got the condition of hungry. Let's roll strength and see if it takes that into account. It's reduced it by 1. Awesome. Okay. So then I can create another condition. We'll call this thirsty. Critical injury. Create it. We're going to go over to modifiers. We're going to reduce everything by 1 again. And they can be stacking conditions, right? The idea as well is that interesting actually. I got some other ideas here how I can handle things like this harm. I can say, you know, different levels of harm. So hungry and thirsty, does this kind of go to give me just 2 dice here? It does. So okay, that's good. This is really good. So we're gonna go here with tired. And if you're tired, is it gonna affect your strength? I mean, it kind of affects everything. Like you're a bit more clumsy. You're definitely slower when you're tired. You're definitely not thinking straight. You're definitely going to be like, you know, not going to be on your best game when it comes to like dealing with people. If you're hungry and thirsty, you're kind of distracted as well. So I think that'll kind of make sense. And then the last one is going to be cold. Yeah. Sluggish. Wits are definitely slow. You're going to be grumpy, etc. So those are all going in there. And if I do that now and I right click and I say, okay, we got a modifier +2 for some reason, should only be rolling 2 dice because the 4 strength is being modified by a -4 with the conditions. Hit roll. There it goes. Perfect. All right. So that's how I'm going to handle them if I'm going to do them. They're just going to give a simple -1. They're going to stack. If I'm injured, this might be something I need to kind of figure out as well. How do I get rid of these? Do I right click to open context menu, delete? Okay. So we'll just delete those off of here. Cool. And what I might do is I might think about how to handle, you know, harm being a -1, -2, and -3. I might just say like if you're harmed. So this is something I can play around with. I can say like, I definitely like having dice as being reduced as you take harm. I'm just wondering whether it should be something like, you know, -1, -1, and then -2 here. Something like that. Because if I'm adding, the idea here is that for vanilla, for vanilla year 0 mini, there aren't any conditions, so there is nothing else that can kind of stack or anything like that that's going to reduce your dice pool. But if I'm adding conditions in which are each one that you're suffering from is going to reduce your dice pool, and then if you're harmed on top of it, it's going to be a very, very harsh spiral of death, which might just be a little bit too hardcore for my own preferences even. Although it might be realistic, it might be like if you're kind of running out of stuff, if you're running out of supplies, and you're kind of, you've taken a little bit of harm, you're a bit hurt, you know, you're pretty much, you know, buggered. So what I think I might do, I might play around with, might play test here, is also adding a condition called injured or harmed, or we'll call it harmed. No, we'll call it injured. And when you're injured, oh, it's not a folder, it's a condition. when you're injured, it's going to be treated just like everything else, but it's basically if any of your health is not at full, then you are going to your strength, your agility, everything's going to be -1. Like basically, your entire dice pool is going to be reduced by 1. I think that's nice and simple, right? While you're injured. Yep, I think I'm kind of happy with that. It kind of makes maybe I'm bear in mind this is solo as well, but I kind of like the idea of this. I've gone from some when I was doing the one shot of this game. Literally a week ago, I didn't have any of this level of crunch or anything. It was very narrative. It was very like focused on the story, etc. And now I'm just adding it. It feels like I'm adding a ton of stuff to it, like typical year zero, like a typical year zero engine game. But it's just I don't have the skills, and everything's a little bit more simplified. So it feels a little bit wrong. It feels like I've kind of taken the core of what I did previously, and I'm kind of really over complicating things. However, I think there's two different ways to look at this. One is if you're playing as in a kind of traditional guided session where you've got a GM and you've got players, you wouldn't necessarily need any of this stuff. You could definitely use it, but you don't really need it to run an exciting game. If you're playing solo, I think these are where these procedures and things really, really help. It being a survival game. So what I might do is when I actually try and write some of this stuff up, there might be a solo section which is really talking about like focusing on the procedure, focusing on moving around on a map and stuff like that, so that you have a little bit more structure to when you're playing, because I think that really helps. Definitely helped with Twilight 2000 playing that co-op without a GM. It definitely helped in Forbidden Lands playing that solo, and I can see it definitely being a case here. But if I would go back, for example, and played like a second part to the session I ran last week, I don't think I would. I don't feel like I would need those procedures to keep playing. I would quite happily just play it again, keeping it very narrative. So interesting. So I need to think about that, like how I'm pitching these things when I'm coming up with them. I think I would apply things like these conditions alongside an injured state for if you've taken any harm, rather than having the -1, -2, -3. I think that kind of makes things a little bit more interesting and a bit more survival focused, and might make things a little bit easier, because there's lots of ways for you to, like, if you get bitten by a zombie, you're gonna lose your character. Like, there's no two ways about it. It's not about a bad roll with a D66 roll on a critical table. You're gonna lose your character if you get infected. So I think taking out the whole bit of like the deadliness, I might be making it a little bit less deadly theoretically, but there's still a really good chance, like if you're hungry and you're thirsty and you're tired and all the rest of it, and there's kind of zombies on your ass, yeah, you're probably like, you're gonna be, you're suffering. You're down in the dumps. You're gonna be probably taken care of. You're gonna be turned into a zombie. You're gonna get infected. But the stress is where the stress comes in. Like, all the stuff there might be stress leading up to that point, like where you're being chased by zombies when all this stuff is happening. You might be rolling like a net total of 0 speed dice because you have all these conditions applying. However, your stress is then going to add dice to the pool. And I like that idea, because you're then getting these free dice from stress. Which have the flip side of any of them come up with a 1 that you panic. So I think I'm going to try this. I think I kind of like the idea of having these different conditions that can all factor into penalties on your roll. So I'm going to stop the stream here. There's a lot of stuff for me to think about. There's a lot of stuff I need to come up with in terms of tables and content and stuff like that. I don't know when that's going to be. I don't know when the next part of this series is going to happen. By all means, if you like what I've come up with here and you want to see more, you want to see a solo zombie campaign, hit the like button, leave a comment and let me know. Because at the moment, I don't really have any hard and solid plans to do this. This is just something I kind of spontaneously decided to do. I'm actually planning on doing a solo campaign with the One Ring, and I've got some really cool ideas for that. But I'm waiting for the official solo rules to come out, which we haven't had yet. So I can't really plan that, I'm not really going down that rabbit hole yet of thinking about that game and starting to plan out that game and starting to start that game until I've actually had a chance to see the rules for how solo play is going to be handled in the game and to kind of process all of that. So in the meantime, this is kind of scratching a bit of a solo itch. I really like the idea of the zombie genre and kind of role playing in it. So yeah, let me know if you want to see more of it. And I'm gonna stop there. So thanks so much for watching. If you made it to the end, well done. And I'll catch you next time. We're gonna be playing the One Ring. We're gonna be finishing our campaign next week. And yeah, I've already mentioned about liking the video if you like this. Also, if you like this channel, you like the sort of stuff I'm doing, then hitting the subscribe button really helps the channel to grow. Hit a milestone recently of over 1,000 subscribers, which is kind of really amazing to me. But anyway, I won't keep this video going much longer. Hit subscribe, hit like to help this channel grow, and I'll catch you next time. Thanks very much.